Om Vakradunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha. श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्ख्यपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So namaste once again everyone. So namaskaram.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste. So in the last class we took up 4 slokas together, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We chanted the slokas and I think we also did saw the anvaya and the meaning of those slokas and the word meanings. We will chant all those 4 slokas again today and then continue with the discussions. Okay. Ready for chanting?
Ready.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri
Bhagavan
Pashya me Partha Rupani
Pashyame Partharupani
Shatashota Sahasrashah
Sahasrataha
Nana Vidani Divyani
Nana
Nana Varna Kritani Cha Pashyadityan Vasun Rudran Ashwinau Marutasthatha Bahunya Drishtapurvani Pashyascharyaani Bharata Ihaikastam Jagat Krishnam Pashyadya Sacharacharam Mama Dehe Gudakesha Yachanyad-drashtumichasi Natumam shakyase drashtum Anenaiva swachakshusha
Chakshusha
divyam dadami te chakshuho
Divyam Dadami Te Chakshushu
pashyame yogamaishwaram.
Pashyame Yogameshwaram.
Very good. So, in the first 4 slokas of the 11th chapter, we saw Arjuna summarizing his learning till now. That is from the 2nd chapter to the 10th chapter in the first 2 slokas. Then in the 3rd sloka, he expressed a desire to see the divine form of Krishna as Vishwarupa. He says he would like to have Vishwarupa Darshanam when he is interacting with the world. Then in the 4th sloka, he puts forth his request very politely, saying that if Krishna considers that the Vishwarupa Darshanam can be had by Arjuna, that is by him, then he requests Krishna to show him Krishna's inexhaustive form in the form of Vishwarupa. Now, this Ishvara Darshanam, the vision of the Lord, requires 2 types of eyes. One is the ordinary eye, the Laukika Chakshu. The other one, which is more important one, is the prepared mind, a purified mind, a mature mind, a well-informed mind, a religious mind, a sadhana chatushtaya sampanna mind. That is also equally important. Invisible eye, which is figuratively presented as the 3rd eye, and here it is called Divya Chakshu. And therefore we must remember that Divya Chakshu means a refined mind which is not a physical thing. Only when the Laukika Chakshu and the Divya Chakshu join together, Ishvara Darshanam, Vishwarupa Ishvara Darshanam is possible. Or for that matter, any Ishvara Darshanam is possible. If Laukika Chakshu alone is there without Divya Chakshu, Ishvara Darshanam cannot take place. And we saw the example of Rama Darshanam, both by Sabari and also Ravana. And the impact on them was totally divergent. In fact, I should say, there was no impact on Ravana at all. And therefore, even though the physical vision of Vishwarupa is available all the time, all the people do not get the same impact because almost everyone uses Laukika Chakshu. And even though they are able to see all the objects of the world, everything they are able to see, tree they are able to see, animals they are able to see, buildings they are able to see, sun, moon, stars, everything they are able to see, but they are unable to see the divinity which is in and through all the names and forms. Therefore, as we discussed, even though the Vishwarupa is right in front of me, if I should get the impact of Vishwarupa Darshanam, I should have a prepared mind, which Krishna calls Divya Chakshu or purified mind. And as I said, this purification is a very slow and a gradual process. It cannot happen in a short time. It involves long, very long, prolonged religious life. It involves following the dharmas or values. Because if devotion and values are not there, for such a mind, the benefit of Vishwarupa Darshanam will not be available. And this refined mind, when I say, it can be defined in various ways. One of the ways is Kama Krodadi Rahitam Manaha. Or you can say Raga Dveshadi Rahitam Manaha. Or you can say Ahankara Mamakaradi Rahitam Manaha. Various ways we can define a refined mind. And therefore, Lord Krishna says, Arjuna, Vishwarupa Darshanam is the easiest thing because Rama and Krishna have to come and give you Darshanam. Whereas Vishwarupa Ishvara need not come. As Vishwarupa Ishvara, I am right in front of you 24/7. Therefore, you have no difficulty in seeing me. And Arjuna was lucky enough because he had the Lord Krishna Avatara in front of him. And therefore, he makes a request for a temporary purification of the mind. But the problem is, when by a miraculous process we get temporary purification of the mind, it will be only temporary. No, it is like a person living with external support system, like a dialysis machine or in a ventilator in a hospital. It's all externally aided living. It cannot last long. Similarly, by the power of miracle, by the grace of the Mahatma or the Lord, a person can get a temporary purification, get the impact of Vishwarupa, but it will only be temporary. And luckily, for Arjuna, he gets the temporary benefit because he is in the presence of Krishna. For people like us, the only way is work on it. Work on purifying your mind. Get rid of ahankara and mamakara. Dilute kamakrodadi impurities. And the second problem with this temporary purification is, since the purification is artificial, even the benefit is not fully appreciated. So when it is an artificial process, that is Bhagavan aided artificial purification, the full impact is not gained. As I said, it is temporary, so it will be there for some time and then it will vanish. And that's why we will find the 7th chapter, in the 11th chapter, Arjuna gets the thrill initially, but later on, Arjuna is not at all happy with Vishwarupa Darshana. In fact, he gets scared. Everyone says Arjuna is lucky enough to get Vishwarupa Darshanam, but Arjuna himself is not able to withstand the impact. And therefore, at the end of this chapter, Arjuna says, Hey Krishna, Vishwarupa Darshanam is all very wonderful, but enough is enough. I don't want to see any more. I do not want any more of it. Please return to your original form. And therefore, when it is an artificial thing, first, it will be temporary. Secondly, the experience cannot be assimilated. Only when we work hard and purify the mind, then alone Vishwarupa Darshanam is permanent. And we are able to have the thrill and joy of that Vishwarupa Darshanam also. However, of course, here Arjuna is requesting, and Krishna, being a compassionate teacher, he accepts and says, I am going to help you in getting Vishwarupa Darshanam. I will bless you with a temporary Divya Chakshuhu. I remember, long time ago, there was one 3D movie. I think it was a Malayalam movie, if I'm not wrong, some Kutti Chatan or some name it was there.
Kutti Chatan.
Isn't it?
We have
It
to
was a
wear special
3D
glasses.
movie.
We
You
have
have
to
to
wear
wear special glasses.
glasses.
I watched that movie. I know when we went into the cinema hall, they gave us those special glasses.
Bombay Metro.
Wherever I know, I was in Delhi at that time. I think some theater in Delhi I saw. There was a very new thing, this 3D. So we all went and then wore the glasses and saw the movie. Really, it was some scenes were very scary, rather. As if some of the animals are jumping over you and things like that and all. It was called Kutti Chatan. Yeah, correct. So this Divya Chakshu is somewhat like that. You will enjoy it for some time, but if you want to have the 3D permanently, you have to make corrections in your original eye. You have to make it a 3D compatible eye, which is not a very easy thing. I don't know. Doctors will be able to tell whether that is possible or not. Anyhow, we will stay away from the topic. And that is why, responding to Arjuna's request, Krishna says in the 5th shloka, Pashyame Partha Rupani. Arjuna, may you see varieties of my form and colors, which are Shatasaha Ata Sahasrashaha, which are in hundreds and thousands. Nana Vidani, which are of all varieties, they are varied in nature. That means what? Different colors, different forms. And they are all Divyani, divine. Everything is belonging to Lord because they are all manifestation of the Lord only. And Nana Varna Kritani Cha, with different shapes and colors. Here also we should carefully understand that we have to learn to look at all the forms and colors of the universe as the beautiful colors of Ishvara himself, the Lord himself. I think in the last class I told you about that very beautiful poem written by Mahakavi Bharatiya. He sees the color, the black color of the wings of a crow as Nandalala. The green color of the leaves in the trees as Nandalala. So you have to develop that Divya Chakshu, purify your mind. And whenever you see any color, you must say, oh, this is color of Bhagavan only. And therefore, different colors of the sun and moon, they're all nothing but Ishvara Varna. They say blood moon and blue moon and things like that and all. All Ishvara Varna only. Just as different forms of ornaments belong to gold alone. That means what? I have to bring a change in my attitude. And in fact, this attitude is very much part of our culture. Which earlier, in my days and all that, the families would teach children right from childhood. But I think somewhere down the line, with all this westernization and all, especially in the metros and big cities, all this rat race we are in, we seem to have lost that culture. And that's why earlier, I remember if I used to step on a newspaper piece lying on the ground by mistake, my parents would insist that I should actually seek pardon from that paper, that inanimate paper which is lying down. They will say, pick it up and then in your mind say, I'm sorry, and put it away safely. For all that it matters, that must have been a piece of newspaper carrying some news about some murder or some killing or some even terrorist attack. So even a small piece of paper was treated as God in our culture. That is why, many people, when they get into the temple, they will first do namaskara to the step which is there outside the temple, even just at the entry of the temple. They will do namaskara, they will touch it and do like this. And that is what I call a prayerful attitude. But as I said, with modern education, influence of all other cultures, this attitude seems to be vanishing in the new generations. It's a very sad thing. In fact, if you have learned Rudram Chamakam, and if you understand the meanings of each nama in Rudra Namakam, it's a description of Lord Shiva visualized as Vishwarupa only. In fact, one mantra says, Asavyas Tamro Aruna Uta Babrusu Mangalaha. It describes the Lord with various hues and colors. And what are the different colors? Tamra, Aruna, Babruhu, Sumangala. These are not new colors that Lord Shiva shows, but they are all the colors of the sun when it is rising. So this describes the sunrise early morning, when the cowherd boys and girls who get up before sunrise and takes the cows or even cattle for grazing in the fields. That follows in the mantra, Utainang Gopa Adrishan Udaharya. So this Vishwarupa Darshanam is available for the Gopa, cowherd boys, because when they come out, they see the rising sun which is red. Thereafter it becomes golden. Then it becomes slightly yellow. Then it becomes white. And they are not the colors of the sun, but they are the colors of Vishwarupa Shiva, Vishwarupa Rudra. So as I said, if you go through the entire Rudram, it is the description of Vishwarupa Shiva. And it talks about not only colors of the sun, rising sun, colors of the leaves, dry leaves as well as not so dry leaves. And the green color. All of them are what? All of them are Lord Shiva's color only. There is another mantra. Harikeshayopa vitine pushtanam pataye namo namo. Harikeshaya means the Lord with green hair. Kesha means hair. So what is meant by green hair? We know different colors of hair, black hair, gray hair, brown hair. Well, brown hair, some people know. I think some people have it naturally also in West. Okay, Indians all have black hair only normally, or when they grow old, it becomes gray hair. But here also we see people who dye their hair brown. And in fact, these days we see that there are different hues they dye their hair. But green color is very rare. But here the mantra describes the Lord as having green hair. So here the reference to the green hair is the description of the leaves in the trees in the forests. So when I am seeing a forest or a green tree, green leaves of a tree, my mind should appreciate it as Vishwarupa Ishvara only. And therefore, different colors are not new colors, but old colors seen with a different attitude. Just recall the example of Tirupati Laddu, which I gave earlier in the last class. It's all a matter of attitude, a divine attitude towards everything in nature. And that is why if we chant mantras and slokas, which are of course mostly in Sanskrit, knowing their meanings, it will go a long way in helping us to change our attitude towards everything and every being. And therefore Krishna says, Nana Varnani. When I look at people with different colors of dress, I am only experiencing Nana Varna Kritani. Wherever a huge crowd is there, immediately I recall the Purusha Suktam beginning. Sahasra Shirisha Purusha. I don't see them as human beings. I see only the countless heads of Vishwarupa Ishvara. Every head of the people I see as the head of the Lord. And that is Vishwarupa. Therefore, Nana Vidhani Divyani Nana Varna Kritani Cha. Then in the next sloka he says, Pashya Adityan Vasun Rudran Ashvinau Marutah Tatha. Varieties of devatas are in the creation in the form of various natural forces. Every devata represents one natural phenomenon only. Here Krishna is actually indicating, in fact, reminding Arjuna. He says, when I presented my glories to you in the 10th chapter, I mentioned about all these devatas as my glories. Do you remember the sloka in the 10th chapter, the 21st sloka, where Krishna said, Aditya namaham Vishnu Jyotisham Raviram Shuman Marichir Marutam Asmi Nakshatranamaham Shashi. So there I mentioned only the glories, but now Arjuna, you can see these devatas for yourself. He says, Pashya, may you see Adityan, the 12 Adityas, Vasun, the Ashta Vasus. But 8 Vasus are mentioned in the scriptures. We symbolize them as various devatas with different forms. In fact, in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, a question is asked, what are the Vasus? And the Upanishad says, Agnischa, Prithvischa, Vayuscha, Antariksham cha, Adityascha, Dhyauscha, Chandramascha, Nakshatrani cha, Ite Vasavaha. So there are 8 Vasus. We can understand them as 8 natural principles. The Agni Tattvam, Prithvi Tattvam, earth element, Antariksham, intermediary loka, Adityascha and Dhyauscha, sun and the upper heavens, Chandramamscha, Nakshatrani cha, the moon and the stars. So these are the 8 Vasus. And therefore Krishna says, may you see the 8 Vasus in my Vishwarupam. So Pashya Vasun. And then 12 Aditya, they are nothing but the sun god obtaining in the 12 months of the year. Again, Brihadaranyaka says, Dwadasha Masa Samvatsarasya Ete Aditya hai. So this sun god obtaining in 12 months. Why do we describe the sun in 12 months? Because in each month, the sun god has got different power. The sun of May and the sun of January, there is a difference. We all know that. And also, all 12 months, the position of the sun vis-a-vis the earth also keeps on changing. And each position gives a different power to the sun. So there are these Dwadasha Aditya Devatas. May you see those Adityas. So may you see the Vasus, may you see the Rudras, Ekadasha Rudras. Again, we go to Brihadaranyaka, the question is asked, Katame Rudra hai? Katame Rudra hai? Answer is given. Dashame Purushe Prana Atma Ekadasha hai. The 10 sense organs, along with the mind are called the Rudra Devatas, 11 Rudra Devatas. And all of them belong to whom? The Vishwarupa only. Therefore, Krishna says, may you appreciate the Adityas, may you appreciate the Vasus, may you appreciate the Rudras, you appreciate Ashwini Kumaras. Ashwini Kumaras are the one presiding over the prana. Pancha pranas. So that principle, and Marutas Tatha, Marut Devatas, which are different forms of Vayu. Therefore, may you see all the Devatas in the Vishwarupa of mind. And all of them are what? Adrishta Purvani, which you have never noticed before. Because where is the time for us to stand and observe all these things? We are so busy with our personal life, our street, our wife, husband, children, what I should cook. Now new problem, gas cylinder not available. So we are actually bogged down in all these things. And we never appreciate the Vishwarupa. And therefore, Adrishta Purvani and Bahuni, numerous, unseen, unappreciated, unnoticed, and each one is a wonder. Sun is a wonder. Excuse me. So sun is a wonder, rain is a wonder. Rain, only God can bring rains. We can never create rain. Of course, they talk of artificial rain and all, some putting some silver iodide crystal, etc. It's called dry ice. You can bring artificial rains. So initially everyone thought there's a very great that scientists are able to produce rain with some chemical, silver iodide crystal. But later we realize that it will produce rain only if clouds are there. And that is why now they don't say artificial rain, they say cloud seeding. If there are no clouds, there can be no rain, even artificial rain. And who gives the clouds? We cannot create the clouds by evaporating the ocean and then making them into cloud and all, isn't it? Only God can do that. But if the clouds are formed and rain does not fall because of some weather condition, this cloud seeding helps. But again, success is not guaranteed. Like I read, in the media recently, during winter, they tried this cloud seeding in Delhi to tackle the pollution problem. But it seems it did not work. So therefore, anything that you take in nature, anything you take in the world, everything is a wonder, which is a glory of the Lord. So Krishna says, may you see that Arjuna. Take a break from your day-to-day business. For a moment, forget about this war and things like that and all. Message for us is keep away your mobile phone, newspapers, magazines, televisions, etc. Take a deep breath and see. Watch the universe and observe the wonders of Vishwarupa Ishvara with awe, wonderstruck. Therefore, Pashya Ascharyani Bharata. He says, you will be wonderstruck. You see it with, there's a surprise element. Oh my God, this is also Bhagavan. This is also Bhagavan. And Krishna continues in the next sloka where he says, Iha in me, in the Vishwarupa Ishvara, whose body is the very sky itself. In Chandogya Upanishad, we find a statement, Akasha Shariram Brahma. Ishvara's body is the very Akasha itself. So in the sky, which is my body, means in the space, Krishnam Jagat Pashya. See the entire universe in my body. And this is not only in Gita, in anywhere we see so many descriptions are there. Vishnu Sahasranamam, for example, Dhyana Sloka. Antastam yasya vishwam Suranarakagago Bhogi Gandharva Daityaihi. That alone is symbolized in the Puranas. When Yashoda asked Krishna to open the mouth, she saw the whole universe. And she is also not able to withstand that. Because for seeing the whole universe in the mouth of the child requires preparation. Because for Yashoda, Krishna was her baby. Then when she saw all the 14 lokas, she said, no, Krishna, shut your mouth, shut your mouth. So all these are symbolisms. Krishna represents the vast sky. Vast sky is blue. Lord Krishna is also blue, but a darker hue. Neelamegha Shyamala. So earlier it was green hair of Shiva. And Krishna represents the sky means all galaxies are floating in him. And therefore, Iha Ekastam in me, Krishnam Jagat, the entire universe, Adhya Pashya. May you see now. And when you see the vastness of the universe, then alone you will understand the vastness of my body. Because the whole universe is contained within my body. In fact, some time ago, there was an interesting write-up on the vastness of the universe. A description of Vishwarupa universe. And it was written by a scientist. And he says, just think of the universe, visualize the universe as a puff of dust about a meter in diameter. Every grain of dust in that 1 meter, visualize it as a galaxy. Now you can imagine how many grains will be there in that size of the puff of dust. So every dust grain is there, in that is a galaxy, a cluster of stars, which are millions of light years in distance. And we know what a light year is. It is the distance traveled by light in 1 year, which is equivalent to about 3 lakh kilometers in 1 second. 1.08 billion kilometers per hour. And how many hours are there in a year? Calculate, mind-boggling calculations. That is 1 light year. Like that, the distance of each galaxy is measured in number of light years, not 1 light year, so many number of light years. And there are billions of galaxies. Just imagine the vastness of the space. Really mind-boggling. And we live near a rather ordinary star among millions of galaxies. And there is one galaxy called Milky Way. Sorry. And in that Milky Way, there are millions of stars. And our sun is only one of the smallest ordinary star. So it's an ordinary member of an ordinary galaxy. On a clear night with no artificial lights, you must observe the skies. You can clearly see the Milky Way with billions of stars. In towns and all, even villages and all, very difficult to see this, observe this, because artificial lights are there, street lights and things like that and all, you can't see. But I was posted in a place called Eta in UP, where out of 24 hours, 18 hours, we used to have power cut. Only 6 hours we used to get power. So that time, especially during summer, we will not have fan in the room, So we used to go on the terrace and sleep with mosquito nets and all. There, that dark night sky, no artificial light around because of power cut. You can see the beautiful Milky Way. In fact, I had a colleague of mine, we were bachelors. So our pastime was go to the terrace at night, watch the entire Milky Way, try to identify the various clusters which are all called, this what they call the planetary clusters. So this is Sagittarius and this is Pisces and all that. We used to have a very good night time pass rather. It's beautiful. And actually those days in Times of India, there used to be a column which gives the photo of the night sky. So you can get a guidance also, which is that particular constellation. And between the stars, there is vast emptiness is there. So we are somewhere in this insignificant planet, not even a star, in the puff of dust. So you can imagine the size of the universe, which is accommodated in space. So what must be the size of the space? And that space is the size of the Lord. Krishna says that is the size of my body. And that is my Vishwarupa right in front of you, which you may see. And what type of Vishwarupa? Sacharacharam, consisting of charam and acharam. Charam, as I told you earlier also, means moving objects. Acharam means non-moving. Stavara jangamam. All inert things are called Acharam, living beings are called Charam. And as I just now reminded you of the Vishnu Sahasranama sloka, this idea is expressed in that sloka also, Dhyana sloka. Antastam yasya vishwam suranarakakago bhogi gandharva daityaihi chitram ram ramyate tam tribhuvana vapusham Vishnu misham namami. So vapusham, vapus means shariram, body. So vapusham means in the body, that is the body of the Lord. Tribhuvanam, the whole universe. Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka and Suvarloka. All of them are there. That Vishnu namami. That Vishnu Isham namami. So Krishna says, you can see right in front of you, Mama Dehe. So here Mama Dehe, we have to understand as Akasha Dehe, Vishwarupa Dehe. May you see Arjuna, hey Gudakesha. Gudakesha is Sambodhana. He is addressing Arjuna. Gudakesha means Sattva Guna Pradhana. Arjuna, you can see my Vishwarupa. Only it requires some refinement, polishing. It is possible for you to see all these things. And not only you can see all these things, Yatcha anya drashtum ichasi, whatever else you want to see, you can see. Where everything has to rest in the body of the Lord only. Thus, Krishna offers to cooperate with Arjuna for giving Vishwarupa Darshanam. But like in all important statements, they make advertisements and all, we see there is always a disclaimer. So Krishna puts in a disclaimer in the next sloka, where Krishna says, however, Arjuna, you cannot see me with these ordinary eyes of yours. And therefore, I shall give you a divine eye to see my divine form. So here, Krishna introduces the requirement of two types of chakshu, two types of eyes. One is Laukika chakshu, another is Divya chakshu. And therefore, Krishna wants Arjuna, he wants, you cannot have Ishvara darshanam with the help of mere physical eyes. Tu aneneva swachakshusha mam drashtum na shakyase. Na shakyase means not possible. Anena eva swachakshusha, by your own physical eyes, your laukika chakshuhu. With the help of that, you cannot see. Mam drashtum na shakyase. You will not be able to see my Vishwarupa. Even if you are able to see the objects, you will not have the impact. And therefore, you require a different eye, which is an invisible eye, which is an eye to perceive divinity. Therefore, you require an invisible eye. In fact, Swami Paramahansa says, he says some people interpret this tilakam, which, both men and women wear on the forehead, as symbolic of Divya Chakshu. Of course, different significances are given for the tilakam. I am reminded of a joke. Because ladies, in our culture, they wear this tilakam, this, what is that called? Kumkumam. So one person asked, why do these ladies wear this, married ladies wear this kumkumam? So the answer was, that is just like, the CCTV. Whatever the husband is doing, that records everything, every minute of married life. Then later on, Once the husband has retired, everything will be played back. So the Tilakam, that joke I suddenly remembered. So one significance of this Tilakam given is the third eye of a prepared mind. See, all these are all proper bhavana. It's a question of attitude. Bhavana chakshu. Therefore, that eye is also required, but that should not be confused with divya chakshu. It is a symbol of reverence and a prayerful attitude. For example, take two types of people who go to a temple. One is a devotee and say another is a foreign tourist. It's an ancient temple with numerous artwork, sculptures, etc. When the devotee goes, every part of the temple is God for him. He does not see them as mere stone idols. He has the bhavana chakshuhu to understand that in and through all those stone idols, stone pillars, etc., there is only the Lord. But this vision, unfortunately, for the devotee is restricted only within the temple. This vision does not extend outside the temple. Whereas for the foreign tourist, even this vision is not there. He sees all these structures and sculptures as stones. Only, of course, he may, appreciate the intricate carvings and their historic significance. He may even take a few photographs, extra photographs, if he learns that they are all, 5,000 years old, etc. He will talk about the art of such sculptures, not about God in those idols. All he can do is see the art in the stones or metal, but he can never fold his hands. He can never do Sashtanga Namaskara. So now what makes the difference? When we go to the temple, our eyes penetrate the superficial rock and see the Lord who has been invoked and worshipped. And that is eye of the bhavana. That eye is the bhavana chakshu. And this bhavana we can find in some cultures in Asia. If you go to places like Indonesia and even Mauritius, etc., Ceylon, Sri Lanka, you can find many Asian cultures, you can find this bhavana. But I'm not aware that in Western countries, for the Western people, of course, this bhavana is there. Asians who are living there in the Western countries when they go to a temple. But Western people, whether they have the same bhavana as a part of their culture, I don't know. Same attitude exists when receiving any prasada in the temple. Even if it is just a pinch of ash, vibhuti, we will apply it to our forehead and even put some in our mouth without worrying about what it has been made of, whether it is safe to consume it, etc. All our doubts end when we view it as prasada from the Lord. All this because of the bhavana chakshuhu, which is seeing only divinity in everything connected with the temple. When this bhavana chakshu extends its vision to things outside the temple, to things and beings in the universe, it becomes divya chakshuhu. But as I said, this requires preparation of the mind for a long period through karma yoga and upasana. And therefore, Krishna says, Vishwarupa Darshanam requires divya chakshuhu. To do namaskaram to rivers, it requires divya chakshuhu. To do prokshanam of the river water requires divya chakshuhu. To do namaskarams to the mountain, it requires divya chakshuhu. To do namaskaram to a poisonous serpent requires divya chakshuhu. Without that, it is not possible. And therefore Krishna says, Arjuna, I shall bless you with that Divya Chakshu. And once that attitudinal change comes, Pashyame Yogam Aishwaram. Then relook the same world in front of you, and what you see, Mama Aishwaram Yogam, you will see my divine glory. Even Panchamahabhutas become Lord Shiva. You will call that as Akasha Linga. Nothing is there, empty space. You will call it Akasha Linga as worshipped in Chidambaram. You will call it Vayu Lingam as it is worshipped in Kalahasti. Agni Lingam as it is worshipped in Tiruvannamalai. Water becomes God in Jambukeshwaram, Tiruvanekaval. Earth becomes God in Kanchipuram. And initially you worship the Panchabhutas only in those respective temples, but that is not enough. Later I should see the same divinity in the Panchabhutas all over. And the day I can revere the Panchabhutas, then the products of the Panchabhutas, namely Panchabhautika Prapancha, they all become divine for me. In fact, I realize that I can never ever go away from the Lord. Therefore, where is the question of going near God? So for a Vishwarupa Darshi, going near God is a meaningless proposition. Because for going near God, first you should go away from the God, isn't it? But that never happens. Even when I go to bed, I see the bed as a Ishvara's manifestation only. And all these ideas, these beautiful emotions are expressed in composition of classical music. I will just quote one Bhadrachala Ramadas Kriti from that. He says, Andandamulu, Pindandamulu, Brahmandamulu, Brahmamulu, Modaluga Antaramayam. That's a beautiful composition, Antaramayam. Everything is Ramamayam, Krishnamayam, Shivamayam, all Bhagavan Mayam. Without that, it is all Mayam. Only Maya. Therefore, Krishna says, see Vishwarupa with this Divya Chakshuhu, which I am going to bless you with, O Arjuna. More we will see in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Sorry,
Thank you very much, Guruji.
talking for 1 hour. Yes, actually,
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guru.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Hari
Thank
Om.
you. Hari Om, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Namaste, pranam.
Pranam. Any hands going up?
We will give you rest.
No, that's okay. I've
No,
spoken for 1 hour. I can speak for a little more also. No problem.
no questions as such. We are waiting for the day when we'll all be blessed with the Chakshurupadas. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So if there are no questions, then I will close the session and continue next week. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.